Hi, welcome to Phenomenal Foodies on Hot Chocolate Hits. Today I will be interviewing Tammy from Yoyomax12, and this is super cool for me because I've been a fan for her for ages. She has the coolest stuff on YouTube. So let's get started. Okay, so the first question I have for you comes from Shannon Thickens, and she asks, what inspired and influenced your passion for cooking and baking?
Well, my mother is a big baker. She actually bakes a lot better than she cooks. And we always had dessert in the house when we were growing up. And I used to love to help her out as a small child. And eventually, when I was, I don't know, maybe 10, 11, 12, I started baking things on my own. And it kind of went from there. It's always been my favorite thing to do in the kitchen, is to bake.
Okay, that sounds good. So then are you formally trained in baking or are you self-taught? Like, did your mom
Oh,
teach you?
no, I have no training whatsoever. I just learn as I go, reading recipe books and watching videos and that kind of thing.
That's really cool because like whenever I look at your videos, they always look so professional and you make it look so easy, but it's actually so hard to make them look so pretty.
Just lots of practice. That's all it takes. Just lots of practice.
Okay, so this question's from Miss Spark 111. What made you decide to post videos on YouTube?
Well, way back in 2006 is when I actually created my YouTube channel. And at the time, I had heard about this thing called YouTube, and there were all these viral videos they were showing on the news and so on. So I went to check it out. And at one point, I wanted to make a comment on someone's video. And in order to make a comment, you have to have an account. Or back then, you did anyway. And so I created an account, made a comment, and then I started to watch a variety of videos, and I ran into one particular vlogger that I really enjoyed watching at the time. She's actually Beth, who was cooking and crafting. She wasn't called that back then, but she was vlogging every day, and she used to do crafts and things like that. And I started interacting with her, and then by listening to her, she was talking about all these other people that she enjoyed talking to and watching them vlog. And I started watching a group of people, and we all started interacting, and I realized that it was a real little community of friends that talked to each other and interacted and had fun. And I decided, you know what, I think I'd like to try this. So I went out and bought a webcam, and that was back in early 2008 is when I decided to make my very first video. And so I started making vlogging videos to a very small group of people, and it kind of went from there.
So where does the name Yoyomax12 come from then?
Well, it's not that interesting of a story. People think there's some kind of very interesting story to go with it, but there isn't. The short story is basically my mother's name is Yolande, and a lot of people have trouble saying that. It's a French word name, and a lot of people have trouble saying it. And it's to shorten it, people will say yo or yo-yo. So that's where the yo-yo comes from. And my son, his name is Maxim, M-A-X-I-M, and so that's where the Max comes from. Is the short of his name. And when I created my account on YouTube, I had no idea I'd be making baking videos and all that because I was just doing it. I just created an account out of the blue just to be able to comment on someone's video. And just a couple of days prior to that, I was over at my mother's house, and she was playing. She just got a new computer, and she was playing like pogo games or one of those kind of online gaming sites. She was playing cards with somebody, and she was using her real name. And I said, Mom, you have to pick a username. Don't use your real name when you're dealing with a bunch of strangers. And she said, well, just why don't you cancel that? And she says, make me a new account. So I'm sitting at her house. Max is sitting over on the couch next to me. And I typed in Yo-Yo Max because that's the first thing I thought of. And so she was Yo-Yo Max on there. And so when I had to create my account, I don't know, it's the first thing that popped into my head. I threw that into the computer, and then it told me there was already a Yo-Yo Max. So I had no choice but to pick another number. So instead of just picking 2, I picked 12 because I was born on the 12th. My son was born on the 12th. And it just has been a favorite number of mine over the years. So that's all there is to it. And I decided to leave it as it is now instead of changing it to something else.
Are you from the French part of Canada or?
Well, I live in Ontario. I live in the northern part of Ontario, and for those of you who aren't familiar with how Canada is, we're an officially bilingual country, but there's certain parts, as you've already said, that are French, more French than other areas. My husband's family is from Quebec, which is a province, and there are many, many French speakers. In fact, my husband's side of the family, there's almost no one who speaks English at all. They all speak French every day, all day, and all their daily activities and at their jobs and everything else. Where I live, there are a number of small communities, and there's a very large French-speaking population where I am. So there's pockets all over Ontario like that. And I happen to live in an area where there's lots of French speakers, and all my ancestors are French, and my mom and dad speak French, and so Max speaks French too. He goes to a French school. He goes to French high school now. And it's our language of communication in our household every day.
That's nice. I learned French at school. So, where do you get most of your recipes from? Like, are they a collection from Pinterest? Um,
You know what? All over the place. Everything you said, Pinterest is been an amazing
yeah.
resource. I just love it. I spend hours and hours and hours on Pinterest. Magazines, the internet, and I have a gigantic cookbook collection. So, and that I add to it every year. So, all over the place.
What's your favorite source?
Oh, my favorite source? Well, Google, the start of most of, if I'm looking to make something in particular, my first thing I always do is I'll type it into Google image search. That's the first thing I do. And then you get a whole bunch of photos, and then I kind of go from there. So what I really like Pinterest is that it's like a visual bulletin board, right? So when I find something that interests me, I pin it into a category of things I'd like to do. And then I just go back there and kind of go through and see, okay, what am I going to do today? That kind of a thing. So right now I have a Halloween idea Pinterest, and you're going to see maybe at least 3 or 4 of those ones that are on that particular Pinterest board. You'll see that probably in my videos this year because it's things that I want to do.
So, when you decide to make recipes, do you usually decide like way in advance, or is it kind of a spur of the moment thing?
It's both. It's both actually. Sometimes I'll plan it. Like for Halloween, I've had kind of the videos I wanted to do picked out for about a month or so, I guess. The ones that I really wanted to do. But every once in a while, I'll be looking through a magazine or something like that, and I'll say, oh my God, I have to make this. This is brilliant. And I will kind of make it that day and post the video and kind of push the other ones aside and post them a little bit later. So I usually plan a little bit in advance. But often I will, if I find something I just have to make right away, I will do it that way too.
Okay. That's kind of how I work too. Yeah. So if you were stranded on a deserted island and could only eat one type of candy, what would it be?
Well, that one's easy actually. I'm a chocolate lover. I love chocolate, so I would pick just a simple dark chocolate. Let's say like 60% cocoa or something like that. Something simple, but it's very satisfying. That's what I would pick.
Yeah. And if you could only use one baking utensil in the kitchen, what would it be? Or like what's your favorite baking utensil?
Well, the most useful is, I guess, it'd be a wooden spoon. I guess. I mean, you could pretty much almost do everything with a wooden spoon, just about.
So you like simple then?
Well, I mean, my electric mixer is it really makes my life easier. But I say, if you're looking for, if I could only pick one, I would probably pick something like that because that's kind of versatile.
Yeah. So are you obsessed with any baking ingredient at the moment? Like, what's your latest fetish?
Well, I'm not going to say ingredient. I'm going to say maybe technique or something like that. Like most of you that watch me will know that I have a rainbow playlist, right? So I'm kind of trying to do every single rainbow food that possibly can be done. That's kind of my goal. So I've gone cheesecake, I've done bread, I've done cookies, and I still want to do pasta, which is a challenge. I already had a fail with that one once already. So I'm working on that to get something that's edible. And sure, there's lots of other things that I can make into a rainbow. So that's,
Yeah.
talk about an obsession. I think that's one of them.
The rainbow stuff is usually really hard to do because you have to separate them into many, many different colors and everything. So would you recommend that to people who are beginning, like decorating?
Some things aren't that difficult to do. I mean, the rainbow cookies I did, those were a little bit of a challenge because you had to kind of, there was like the red part of the rainbow, there was actually more dough than the last color, right? So you had to kind of do all proportions. So you had to kind of measure it on your head to try to make sure you had just a little bit more of red, a little bit less orange, and so on and so forth. But something like the cheesecake I made, really, you just kind of mix it up and pour it all together. It wasn't all that difficult. And the fudge one was the same way, pretty easy to do. So some beginners can probably do them as well.
So like I said, you make everything look so easy to do or so special, so cool. So what's the most difficult thing that you've ever cooked? And this is from Tara Fur.
Well, the most difficult, I think, technically was probably I did an R2D2 cake. No, I didn't film it like step by step. It does appear in one of my videos. I have a video where I show pretty much all of Max's birthday cakes from when he was 1 until he's about 9 or 10. And there's an R2D2 cake in there, and that was a cake that I didn't really have a model or a recipe to follow. I had to kind of just use photos and try to decide how to put it together. And that was a challenge to get it because it was quite large, and I had to take it from the house to another location for the party. So it was a scary thing trying to move it, but that was challenging. And I make gingerbread houses every year, and those take a really long time. And they're, one little mistake and the whole thing can, your roof can cave in, and then pretty much you're done. There's nothing else you can do. Everything is ruined. So those are the hardest things I've done so far that I can think of.
Yeah. So then, what other channels do you also watch on YouTube?
I watch Beth, who is cooking and crafting. I watch her. I watch all of her videos because she's a friend of mine, and we've known each other since the beginning of YouTube. I mentioned her earlier. She does cooking and crafting. Mm-hmm. She's a really great lady. I watch My Cupcake Addiction. She's an Australian lady, Elise. There's Cookies, Cupcakes, and Cardio. Her channel is actually fairly similar to mine. She does a lot of really great things on there too. And who else? Emmy Made in Japan. I don't know if you've ever seen her.
No, I don't know. Maybe
she's a Japanese lady, but she's an American. But she's a Japanese lady, and she basically tries out new things like goodies and eats them on video. And she's a very, very nice lady, and she's a lot of fun to watch. Food Wishes. Yeah. Watch Food Wishes. I don't have a lot of time. That's the problem when you make a lot of videos, is that you don't have a lot of video watching time. I don't have a lot of video watching time. So I kind of, those are the ones that I would consider like the food ones I watch. I also have a few vlogging channels that are friends of mine that I also watch as well when they make videos.
Mm-hmm. So I'm down to my last 2 questions. What are the highs and lows of YouTubing?
Oh boy. Well, the very best thing about YouTube that I have found over the years is that the fact that I've been able to meet so many great people from all over the world. It's incredible. Like I'm talking to you right now, and you're in Poland. I mean, how it never ceases to amaze me how easy it is to talk to somebody so far away. And for some of you younger folks, I mean, this is like normal to be able to do this kind of thing. But it really never ceases to amaze me just how much fun it is to talk to people all over the world. When I go on Facebook, often I get people instant messaging me, and they're from everywhere. I can talk to people from Malaysia, from South America, Argentina, Spain. I get to talk to people from everywhere. And I've made some really great friends on YouTube, and people that I talk to, I consider very good friends. And like Beth, for example, and I have a friend named Gigi who is ABQGG, and we travel together to a few different places, and we try to meet up at least once a year. So the best part is the people. I get to interact with people from all over the world, and the comments on my videos. That's the very, very best part of my YouTube experience. I really enjoyed that part of it. So the internet is amazing to me when it comes to that I'm able to do that.
So in terms of YouTubing, where do you see yourself over the next couple of years? Like, what's next for Yoyomax12?
Well, I think that I think I'm going to continue on the way that I am. I continue to try to improve as a video maker and an editor because I'm learning as I go with editing and so on. I'm not very good at it, so every time I use the program, I try to learn new things about it. So try to make better film, better edited videos, and just to basically to continue on and to try to make things that people want to see. I try to listen to what people tell me in my comment section. So if everyone's asking me for a certain kind of cupcake or a certain kind of dessert, I try to say, okay, well, if that many people are asking, they must really want it. So then I try to, make things that people want to see. So that's pretty much it for that.
And do you ever find like you run out of things to make?
No, there's too many things to make. Oh my goodness, no. I can't imagine. I don't know. Maybe someday down the road it might happen, but right now it's hard to decide what to choose out of everything that's available. It's very hard to pick that one thing. Like for especially Halloween is one of my favorite holidays of the year, and I had to look at my October schedule, and I post videos twice a week, so I'd say, okay, well, that gives me maybe 8 videos, Halloween videos, maybe, if I start at the beginning of October. And I was thinking, well, geez, I'm going to have to really narrow it down because I have so many that I actually want to post. Either that or I might throw in a couple extras in the middle of the week and maybe do 3 videos a week. But I can't see that happening anytime soon. There's just way too much stuff to do out there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to interview you. It was pretty cool to learn a little bit about you. So thank you.
You're very welcome. Thanks for inviting me. It was fun.
Okay. Well, I'll talk to you soon. And
okay.
yeah.
See you on YouTube.
Yeah.